And welcome to another edition of CSU Lakers Show at the Loch, episode 6, with Coach Vince Alexander. Want to welcome everybody to the show tonight on a Sunday night. I'm your host, David Jones. We got another great show lined up as usual. We're here to talk about Clayton State University basketball. The past couple of weeks where we missed a couple of shows, but we are back ready to make it rock and roll as usual. Coach A, how you doing today?
Doing great, David. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking.
Yes,
Man,
sir.
listen, let me tell you something. Everybody needs to understand that this is a process and a journey. But what I love to see over the and basically in the past couple of weeks since we last been on the show, you guys have improved leaps and bounds. I mean, we talk about this privately, but I want people to understand, the growth in your team basically the past 6 to 7 weeks. I want you to talk on that, how much this team has grown and the heart and grit they've shown.
Dave, it's hard for people on the outside that don't really know and haven't really been around these guys to understand that there's growth, even though we have come up on the losing end of these games. There's been tremendous growth. And, these guys are fighting. Like I said last night, you know, yes, you look at our record and we're losing. There's no losers on this team. There are winners on this team, and they're fighting and they're growing. We've lost a lot of close games here recently. You know, basically starting the second half since we, played at Augusta, we were up 15-2 at Augusta. Ended up losing a tight ball game. Came back and beat Lander. Close game with Flagler at Flagler, close game with Georgia College, overtime the other night. And then against Aiken last night, all guys fought, man. They fought. And there's no losers on this team. These guys are growing leaps and bounds, from the fact that, it seems that, Dave, it seems like every game we have, something, somebody hurt or somebody missing, and it's been that way for us since we lost, Eddie Page and Elijah Dates.
Mm-hmm.
Just every week, somebody's not playing. Giannis didn't play against Georgia College, and we needed that energy and that effort that he brings. Speaking of improvement, he's improved tremendously, but he was out. And, we just got Lay Davis back right before the game yesterday. It's just, one thing after another. But great group of guys working hard, not quitting. Aaron Pitts, DJ, just great guys, man, working hard.
Absolutely. And, anybody that's a basketball junkie per se, a lot of times, people that are quote unquote the basketball junkies, they'll go look at records. And when you go look at records, the first thing you do is you analyze scores. And when you start analyzing scores, and for some of the people that are even more heavily involved, and that's not everybody per se, when you, like you said, when you start looking at these close losses, but, sometimes a lot of people that are quote unquote the basketball junkies, they'll click on the box score link. And when you click on the box score link, the box score always tells a story. And when it tells a story, that's where you'll see Clayton State was up 10, 12 points, or Clayton State was up in the second half, or you'll see those things. And, we talk continuously after the game. And, I've harped on the same thing. Now the growth is closing out these games in the last 5 to 6 minutes to walk away with the
Yes.
victory. And
Yeah.
I feel like they're starting to get a better understanding because now, it used to be teams would pull away by 10 or 12. Now, it's we're losing by 3 points. We're losing by 4 points. We're losing by 5 points. And the game is now it's a minute left or 2 minutes left. And either we're up or the game is tied, or quote unquote, either way, you're right there for the taking. And, I know I sound like a broken record because now it's just understanding what's needing to be done to close out these games,
Yeah.
understanding clock management, understanding not to rush shots, understanding, if you need to take a charge, whatever the case may be to get this victory, it's understanding the details, as you like to say, the small details to pull out the victory. Would you agree?
I totally agree. I mean, you look back, I was thinking, looking at the box score last night, and I was thinking the first time we played Aiken, once again, we were without two players. We were without, Lay Davis and Deshaun Joseph. We were without those two guys, 6'7" and 6'9", and Aiken had 19 offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
And I looked last night, you know,
Mm-mm.
and they're one of the top rebound teams in the country, and we kept them, we held them to I think maybe 10 or 11, and we actually out rebounded them on the offensive rebounding end,
Yes, we did.
and so that's improvement, and we do have to learn to close out these games, but these are guys that basically you have 9 or 10 new guys out there on the floor coming
Mhm.
together. This is our first year together, and they're learning to close out games. But you know, we're relatively an inexperienced team,
Eh,
so that's what
Yes.
happens to inexperienced teams. You play ball, you're good enough to win, but you don't close them out because of your lack of experience, and so you
Mhm.
take a bad shot or you don't hold it and use the clock long enough, and that's game management that which they're learning and we're teaching them, in practice every day. We work on game controlling in the game situation. We put 4 minutes on the clock. We're either up 10 or down 10,
Mhm.
and we try to play through those situations. And doing that, our guys have gotten a lot better.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's showing. I mean, it's not even trying to sell old Clayton State. No, it's any coach that is in the Peach Belt. They're they're all saying the same thing. Like you can see these guys coming together, and we talk about this as well. All your teams that are really good, they've in the Peach Belt, they've been playing together 2 and 3 years, and that makes a huge difference. So, to the point of what you're saying, when these guys start to get experience, they're going to start to learn how to close out these games. They're going to learn how maybe not to rush a shot when it's down to 2 or 3 minutes. And you want to when we're ahead, it's clock management. You want to take a shot when it's under 10 seconds, and you want to continue to do that because now the clock is your friend. And some of them, like you said, they don't understand that. And sometimes it takes film, sometimes it takes skill development. Sometimes it just takes a combination of both as well. So they finally get that light bulb clicks and be like, oh, I understand what coach is saying now.
Yeah, and certainly, uh, this is something that we have found that we really needed to teach. And when you look at our team, you look at our roster, when you start thinking about our players, when you start with our starters,
Hmm.
Marcus, you talk about fat Marcus Harris, okay, played half the year last year, one half year of college basketball.
Hmm.
Aaron Pitts, one half a year, played a half a season last year, played the first half of the season last year. All right. JoJo Bell, played he didn't even play half of a season last year in junior college basketball, season ending injury. you know, Lay Davis, who played, a few, probably 3 quarters of a season. Jamal Kleiss is the only real experienced guy we have on the floor. DJ injury, he was out. He was out for a while last year.
Hmm.
Um, then you start talking about guys coming off the bench, and it's guys that Giannis Woods played only half of a season last year. We have so many guys that lack experience, and that hurts you in closing out games. And you know, um, the guys like I said, I hate to harp on this, but Eddie Page, who we lost with a broken hand, had game experience and is one of the best post defenders in the league.
Hmm.
Okay, he's out. Elijah Dates, you know, as a freshman last year, lots of minutes, high IQ player. We lost him. So, it's tough, and you're teaching these guys, but the reality is we're probably the least experienced team in the league. We have less returners than anybody in the league.
I agree. And when you look at this, and we know how rugged the Peach Belt is from top to bottom. There's no days off, and I can proudly say that it's no cakewalk with Clayton State either. You better come to play, or you're going to get knocked off, just like any other team. But that's the mantra for the Peach Belt, and I'm glad to see where Clayton State is building to the point of you know it's not that we were never not taken serious. It's understanding like, no, they're going to knock you off now. It's no, hey, we're going to be up by 10 or 11 or 12 with 3 or 4 minutes and we can cruise. No. And the thing I loved so much yesterday, with it being homecoming, man, that crowd was amazing yesterday. I mean,
Yeah.
they were basically the sixth man kind of willing Clayton State back into that game because how crazy it was, and I say this with no hesitation, you know, we were down 20 in the
We're
second half.
down 20, 50 to 30.
Yeah, we were down 20, and I said, this game is not over. And, I'm sure people that are listening to the broadcast and be like, what is he talking about? And, I say some of the same phrases continuously, good or bad. Basketball is a game of runs. And I really felt like Clayton State had another run in them. And sure enough, we went from being down 20 to up one with 3 minutes left.
Job one. Yep.
Hmm. So, it's that fight. And, I have to give you and Coach Anthony all the credit in the world for instilling this believe mentality. And these kids believe, they believe, hey, we are right there. And it's so crazy to the point of even the kids that are redshirted are to the point like, man, I'm ready to get in to give a couple minutes to whatever I can do. And I feel like this off season, with the work you guys already demand, and it's also about the kids putting in extra work as well. I think they're starting to understand that it can't be okay. Coach A wants us in the gym from this set amount of time. You have to put in extra work after hours as well, and I think they're understanding that because that helps with the details that we're talking about.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking as you were saying that, Dave, one of the things that we're planning to implement in our off-season workout this year, which we haven't done, is film study.
Hmm.
So not only are we going to do skill development, we're going to develop through film study. We're going to teach our guys to study film, not just look at a tape and look at your good shots and the baskets you made,
Hmm.
but look at the bad shots you took. Look at the shots you made and how you made them, and judge those shots and evaluate those shots. Look at the bad shots. Look at the shot clock when you took that shot. Not
Hmm.
just, oh yeah, I made a big three, you know. No, you made a big three. You took a bad shot with 20 seconds on the shot clock with a contested hand in your face.
Yeah.
And that's what, we're gonna do this spring is, not only develop them to where their IQ develops on the court, but also develop their IQ through film study.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And, I want to expand on that just a little bit. Like, understand when you get beat on defense, and not just you individually, because when you get beat on defense as a team, you need to understand, okay, I understand my position, but
Listen, but
it, whether it's somebody else that's getting beat, you need to understand where they were out of position as well, so you all can communicate as a team also.
yeah, I mean, I think it's important, to learn these things, and it's a part of developing the program and establishing your culture.
Absolutely.
This is what we do. This is how we do it. This is why we do it. You know, the what we do and why we do it. And getting them to understand. And I think because most of our losses have come down to attention to detail. We're
Yes.
very detailed with our kids. We break down. You know, if a guy takes 30 shots and he takes 29 of those going left, our guys know that he's gonna probably attack you left. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if you know, he's a right hand dominant player. If he likes to just catch and shoot, you know, make sure you have a hand up.
Mm-hmm.
We do a lot of detail, covering details through our scouts, and we change up a lot in what we do from game to game. We might ice a player, we might blitz a player, we might, go under, and our guys need to know that. And sometimes, when you're inexperienced, you miss those details. You know, you're supposed to go under a screen, you went over a screen, the kid get downhill and get a layup or a
Mm-hmm.
lob to the big, because you didn't follow details. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of our losses have come down to attention to detail. That's why we, in practice, like I say, every day, even the day before a game, we do at least 4 4-minute situations where we're down or up, and we got to come back or we got to hold a lead.
And yes, and like you said, that's that attention to detail, to where it's game management at the end of the game that we're talking about, because like you said, it's experience now, and like you said, through film and through development, it's going to make these guys better. And I can't stress enough, every team that I've seen, from a North Georgia to a Columbus State to a Augusta, the previous guys that have went on to win the league and actually go far in the tournament, they've been together 3 4 with COVID, sometimes 5 years together. And
Yeah,
that's that's going to give you huge dividends when you have guys that have played that much together, every summer together, every fall together. They're lifting weights, they're watching film together. People need to understand, when you do stuff like that, that other person like the back of your hand. You know your own game, but Lay's weaknesses, Jamal's weaknesses, DJ Wright's weaknesses, JoJo, and then you understand where to put them in the position. I'm going to give you a great example last night that, and if it would have went down, it would have brought the house down. Peasy went to the hole, and and he did right because the shot clock was low. JoJo cut baseline.
backside.
Yeah, he cut backside and he was open. The timing was a hair off. And I mean a
Yeah,
hair off. And it was the perfect play because it was set up beautifully. But because they're still getting to know each other, the timing was just a split second off, which
yeah.
was the difference of a game changing dunk, because that would have put us up by 3. And
That'll
you
put
would have
us
had,
up 3. Yep.
yeah, that would have had the crowd going crazy, but you couldn't really be mad because it was a great look, but the timing was a split second off, and that's details right there. And you can't fault either one of them because the read was right. It was
Yep.
just it was
It
just
was,
a tad off, a tad
it
off.
was, it was actually a read that we worked on in shoot around.
Mm-hmm.
They like to really help in the hoop and that backside corner man. And
Mm-hmm.
we worked on it in shoot around and said, the lob is there. The lob is there. And JoJo and Peasy, Aaron Pitts, they had it. And like you said, the timing was just a little bit, a smidge off, just a little bit off. Would have
Mm-hmm.
brought the house down. We'd have been up 3. and it'll change the
Momentum is
momentum of the
there.
game.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That changes everything right there because you're up 3, the crowd is going nuts. That changes the momentum. And a lot of times when people understand when that momentum is changed like that, that changes the psychology of the other team because they're trying to get back into something that just changed the game. Now that adrenaline is really running for the defense, and now you got guys slapping the floor on D, playing hard because it's a
Yeah.
game-changing play. And it's not to say that it was wrong. It was just like what could have been. And you don't like to go with what it could have, should have, but those are the things right there that like right there. I used to tell the kids in AAU, well, I'm like, we're right there. We are right there.
We're
And
right there. And,
mhm,
those guys haven't, I mean, you think about it, Dave. Think about Columbus State. I picked Columbus State to win the league this year.
mhm,
And they weren't picked to win it by all coaches, but I picked them to win it because they had 5 starters back,
mhm.
at least 4 starters back. But they had 7 guys that have been together for 4 years, at
Yep.
least 3 years, at least 3 years. And I said, that is going to pay off. It's going to pay off. And
Mhm,
and you look at where they are now. Now next year, not to look ahead, but we got the majority of these guys back,
mhm. Yeah.
you know, and God willing, we can get this JUCO rule to favor, Division 2 like they did Division 1, and
Yeah.
we get Aaron Pitts back.
Yeah. Absolutely. That'll
That
that'll
would
be
be
huge for
incredible.
one. Yes, it will.
And then you have Elijah coming back along with Eddie coming back.
Mhm.
Now look at your experience now.
Yeah,
And
you
them
look
guys
different.
playing together for, listen, um, E-Man has only been here
Seven
a
weeks.
month,
7 weeks. Yeah.
you
Not
know,
even 7 weeks. 6 weeks. He's been here
six or
6
seven,
weeks.
6 or 7 weeks. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah.
And he hasn't, like we're counting on these guys, but we just lack experience, and lack of experience leads to a lack of attention to detail.
And coach, I mean, and to go further on what you're saying, who won it last year? North Georgia. Those guys have been together for how long?
They had been
Some
together
years.
because of the COVID year. They had been together at least 3 years,
Exactly. The year before that,
maybe 4.
Augusta. Augusta. Now, Lord knows how long all of them been together. They've been together forever.
I think they might have been together 8 years.
but it goes back to what you're saying. It's those teams that have been together like this. They know what to do in those crunch time moments. So in those crunch time moments, it's the senior leadership. You know what? I'm gonna do you one better, and they're not even in our league. And we used to talk about this big time. The guards at Clark Atlanta last year,
Hmm.
same thing. Those are grad transfers, but those guys were senior led. They were older, they were experienced, and they were tough. They were really tough. But
They
it's that
were.
experience that makes that big difference for these teams when it comes crunch time, whether they know when to get a bucket or when to find a guy that they know that is going to be the person that's going to pay off big time, that is sometimes exposing the weak link in the defense.
Yeah.
Those are high IQ guys because they've been through the fire.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
And so, it's really about just being patient and continuing to work, like you said, like working the off season, getting these guys to understand what's good, what's bad. And sometimes you got to be bad coach. Sometimes when I say bad coach, sometimes when you watch a film, you got to
Got
rewind
to
it again.
rewind it. Got to rewind it
Rewind it
again.
again.
And they
Exactly.
hate it. They hate it,
Yeah.
but has to be done.
Yeah. Like you have to drill that home to be like, listen, I'm rewinding it so you understand. And then when we go walk out on this floor, we're going to go through it. And if you mess up again, okay, we're going to run because you told me you understand when I rewound it about 5 or 6 times. You're like, okay, coach, I got it. Okay, cool. We get out here on the floor and you do something different. Okay. It's accountability time.
Accountability. Yep.
So, but I don't, I know we're talking future. Let's get back to the present. You still
Yeah.
have 2 games left. And with these 2 games, these are winnable games. And
And
I,
we're
I
going to try
feel
to
like,
win them both.
yeah, and I feel like we're gonna be down this same lane again. Like I feel like it's gonna be close games, but I feel like in these games they're going to turn the corner and people are starting to understand. One person I'd like to really tip my hat to because it's experience, like you said, is Marcus Harris. Like Fat is still learning what's
He's
good,
still
what's
learning.
bad. Yeah, but
Yeah.
when he's in the game, he is a difference maker. He is a definite difference maker. And you can see like he's setting the guys up really well. And you can see like Peasy and even DJ Wright and Jamal Clyce, they're comfortable to get their stuff off because Marcus is giving them the ball where they're comfortable to be effective.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
He's doing a really good job.
yeah,
I just wish we had him. I wish he. Obviously, his experience is coming through now,
mhm,
but you know, he can really develop into a really good point guard.
I agree. I definitely agree. And I've been fortunate enough to see Marcus since high school and AAU. When you can see like, hey, this kid is good. And
Yeah,
you can see it, and you can see now that he's starting to get those minutes and those reps. Like, yeah, there's some times where you're like, okay, Marcus, no, but it's not a bad no to be like, what are you doing? It's just more, no, that's not what I'm looking for right there in that play. And he does a good job of recognition. So he does a good job with that. It's just sometimes where he's learning. And again, that's all I can really say. He's learning because there's sometimes he makes excellent reads. Then there's sometimes I'm like, no, Marcus, that worked in high school, but that doesn't
yeah,
work here.
that
Yeah,
doesn't work here.
yeah, yeah.
I
And
worked
but
in AAU or high school, but it doesn't work here.
and again, that's one of those things where I'm not here to kill Marcus on that because, like I said, he does a good job, and you have to let him be able to be the floor general so he understands. But again, with Marcus being a sophomore, like, hey, listen, sky's the limit because my expectation for him in 2 years would be like, oh man, okay,
Yeah,
I know what it is now. I definitely know what it is now.
you
Like,
you definitely know.
and Marcus will know because he will have played with the majority of those guys 2 years.
Yeah,
So he'll know what everybody likes, don't like, where they like the ball. And Marcus does an amazing job of delivering the ball to where these guys like it, even at this point. But the expectation, like we said, I expect Clayton State to be the North Georgia, the Augustas, and you're going to keep adding pieces to all this, of course. And I don't want to leave anybody, that doesn't play a lot off because I feel like Bookie's going to be really good as well. I
he's
feel
he's
like,
going to be really good. He
yeah,
is.
and there's a
He's a
number of
freshman.
people. Yeah,
He's a
he's a
freshman.
freshman. Yeah,
He's going
but
to be
there's
really good.
absolutely. But the pieces you have now to go with what I know you're going to get, man, listen. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think you have it right on. With the pieces we're going to add to this group right here, who will be back next year with the majority of these kids.
Hmm.
I mean, you got to think. I mean, we're losing three guys. For well, two for sure, maybe three, and we have 15 guys. We'll have 12 guys back on this roster next year.
Hmm.
And we
I,
add
yeah.
two really, and we already committed a really good high school player, you
Hmm.
know, and we just need, two really good players to add to this team that can bring experience and instant help. It could be special.
I agree. I definitely agree. But I know whoever comes into this Clayton State, culture, I want to be clear. Like what I see now and the culture you've built now and how close these guys are, like they're going to have to be bought in to be, hey, it's not just about me because you're getting a lot of these guys to buy into some stuff that they've never bought in before.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you, Dave.
So, coach, like, we're gonna have this, and we're gonna have this talk again next week, because the expectation is, I would prefer. Now, don't get me wrong, I won't never take it, but I would prefer two victories, but I would prefer two close games in victories. A lot of
Yes,
times I feel like, when
yes,
you win by
yeah. For that
15 to 20,
experience, for that
yeah,
experience,
exactly.
and you learn
Exactly.
how to win some of those.
Yes, exactly. I would prefer to see both games close. And yes, of course I want to see a victory, but I mean, if we win by 15 to 20, I'm not gonna be like, oh, coach, no, no. Yeah, I'm with you on that too. But like you just said, I feel like these grinded out games now it's and here's the thing that's so crazy about it. It's not teams that are just at the bottom of the barrel. Like, it's Columbus State games. It's, Lander's a good team. All these teams you're playing extremely close. And I'm like, I want to keep this same thing, so people, so these guys understand for next year. We've been through this 8, 9, 10 times where we've been close,
Exactly, exactly.
and now we understand what it takes to get over the hump.
Yes, sir.
So, coach, you want to talk about the two games real quick that you got coming up this week?
Yes, sir. Let's do it. I mean, Georgia Southwestern. Obviously, I think we can win any team we play against, and
Mhm.
we've shown that. Like I said, we went in Augusta and we were up 15-2. Um, I think we were probably up 6 or 8 at halftime,
Mhm.
and so we can play against anybody in this league. Columbus State at home, we had that game, and they pulled away in the end, and I think it ended up being a 10 or 12 point win, but the
Mhm.
score doesn't reflect how close it was. Georgia Southwestern is going to be good. I think they're very good on the glass as well,
Mhm.
and they got a big inside that's good, and they got a shooter that's really good. But I think we'll be ready for them this time. Uh, you know, we have all of our guys. I think the last time we played them, we were just getting some guys back, because of some schedule changes and, whatever, going through that. And then, obviously North Georgia, we played them at home to a 3 point game.
Sure
And
did.
for some reason, the refs felt like they needed 37 free throws. So they shot 37 free throws, which was amazing to me. But I've never seen anything like it. But anyway,
But coach, like I said, I fully expect these two games coming up to be close games, and God willing, pulling out victories as well.
man,
But like I said, you're building something, and a lot of people like to say, brick by brick, and these bricks is starting to add up now. So I want
yes,
people to
sir.
understand these bricks are adding up. So you building a nice little house over there.
I think it's going to be great. And our kids are getting great experience. I think fans are seeing that our guys are trying. They're not quitting. And, you know, I think the future is bright. I really do. I'm not saying that just
I
to
do as well.
mix words. I think the future is really bright at Clayton State.
Definitely. I agree. I mean, from a culture standpoint, you built that culture. And it's one thing I definitely want to touch as well before I let you go as well. I mean, you got a team GPA right at 3.0 for the first time.
Well, we were close. We didn't
Hmm.
quite get there. That's what we're trying to get to. Hopefully this semester we're gonna get there, Dave.
But again, it's improving. That's where I like to
It's
go.
improving. Our team
It's not
GPA
right
is
at a
improving.
3.0, but it's close. You know what I'm saying? So with it being close, it's another building block right there where you're building this culture, and these teams, no, not these teams, these players are buying in. And and that's my hats off to you and what you and Coach Anthony are doing. It's just, be patient. That's all I'm gonna tell people. Be patient,
Be
because when it
patient.
happens, it's going to happen.
Stay with us. Hang in there.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, that's going to do it for tonight. We're going to have an end of the year show next week after these two games, and
Okay.
we'll talk about this season. We'll talk about what's coming up for the upcoming season as well. But Man, I just want to tip my hats off to what you're doing over there because, the grind is a grind, and I get to see what you guys are doing on a regular basis. And I just want to commend you for the job that you and Coach Anthony are doing.
Well, I want to thank you for all your support, unconditional support at that. And, to all the Laker fans out there, I want you to appreciate these kids, their effort and their energy. They're not quitting. They're not losers. They're winners. They really are. But like in anything, you got to have experience, and we're getting that. And so just keep supporting us. And I appreciate all you're doing to support us. And go Lakers.
Absolutely. And before I go, shout out to the fans. I mean, that atmosphere was on fire on Saturday.
Incredible.
Yeah, that
Incredible.
atmosphere was on fire. All I could do was smile from the broadcasting table. I said, man, this is the type of atmosphere I would like to see every game. But I feel like that comes with winning. With winning, you're going to see that type of atmosphere. Like, I don't want it just to be for the Clayton State Classic or for homecoming or for senior day or for a big game per se. I want to see that every game. And hey, thank you guys, the fans. You guys were awesome this past week. And you guys
Thank you.
basically willed them back from 20 down
Yes, they
because
did. Yes, they
man,
did.
I look at them, they were the sixth man big time. They were definitely
Yes,
the sixth
sir.
man. So, that's going to wrap it up for tonight. But, thank you again, Coach, for coming on the show. It's been a great year. And like I said, we'll finish up next week and continue to talk about what you got going at Clayton State. And like you said, go Lakers. And thank you all for tuning in as usual. I'm your host, David Jones, with Coach Vince Alexander. You guys have a good and blessed night.
Good night. Thank you, Dave.
Mm-hmm.